Yeah, I know he can't, but he keeps saying, oh, no, no, why are you inviting me? Why are you inviting me? I would drive without assist. If now I'm going to embarrass you. If you can't drive without assist, you're getting kicked out of the stream. Look, he's going so slow and he went off the track again. Look, even Tom is about to lap him and it's only the third lap. He's looking up at every single corner. Oh, man.
As I drove out of the pits, I could not believe this. My first ever AOR opportunity to race in Formula 7 was finally here, and I was actually racing in AOR. Yes, okay, it's Formula 7. I know it's a long way off Formula 1 or Formula 2, or you know, Pitmats League, OTGs, you know, Formula whatever he's in AOR. I know I'm right at the bottom. Well, I'm not actually at the bottom, that's Formula 8. But still, it is Formula 7, and it is AOR anyway. As you can see here, it is wet, which didn't really help. But you can see, I was quite surprised that they allowed some of the assists. So I managed to get corners only, and I believe the gearbox, which I was kind of, well, I'm just using a controller, by the way, so I'm not going to be perfect with the gears. I don't have a fancy gear shift, whatever steering wheel thing. I let this guy through here. I was just going really slowly. I didn't want to crash on my first ever session in AOR. And anyway, so here we go then. We're on to starting now our first lap, and you can see the back end slightly going here. And so far I'm thinking, wow, this is actually pretty good. The only area I was really struggling with here in this particular session was braking and just locking up at every single corner. You can see there, locking up into turn 1. And when I thought things were going great, this happened. Yes. It hadn't even been 2 solid minutes and I crashed. When I saw the wall getting closer and closer, I thought that was it. I'm going to be starting last. There's no way I can save this. But somehow, just a slight bit of contact was made with the wall at such a safe angle as well. I just managed to scrape my tyres along that wall, and thank goodness for that, because I would have had been out of this race, and starting last is not great. And anyway, look at that, someone making a mistake there. So it wasn't only me doing it, but of course I really wanted to do well, not because it was my first race in AOR, but I just wanted to also prove to myself that I could use no assists. And well, at the moment I'm doing a pretty good job, considering this will actually be my first ever race not using a lot of the assists. The host has disabled all the assists obviously for AOR, but this will technically be my first race if I ever complete this, of course, which you'll just have to wait and find out in a couple of minutes if I do so. This will definitely be my first race with no assists, and usually I do no assists now and again as a bit of a funny, you know, break from using a couple of the assists. But anyway, as you can see here, I retired from the session, and at the moment I'm P9, so that is really good, and I did finish in that place. As you can see then, Of course, what, 4 point whatever seconds that is off the pace. Not too great, but the position itself is excellent, really. And yeah, here we are then on the grid to start. And thank goodness there was no rain, there was no mixed conditions, because all I needed in this race was for it to be dry and to have a one-stop race, everything going okay. I could have gone for a different tyre strategy, but anyway, here we go, and I get a fantastic launch there, or I think that was probably a bad start for my teammate. But look at that, wheel to wheel there with the Haas driver, and well, we're up into P8 now, and we're heading now into turn 2, and a couple of people there, look, nearly banging wheels. I had to go and avoid the Toro Rosso then, so I did run off the track, but luckily I didn't get an illegal overtake for that. And the Toro Rosso then, I had to actually lift off the throttle there, because otherwise we were going to make contact. And look at this, the Ferrari goes for a move, tags me round. It was only the slightest bit of contact when I saw it from another person's point of view, but that sent me spinning round, and now I'm down into 15th place. It's second to last, and well, this is the worst case scenario. Actually, the second worst case. The worst would have been me out before what, half of that would have been completed. So thank goodness I got 4 wheels still on. I mean, that was only a slight bit of contact. I still have all my front wing, so that's all good. And we're trying to get past the Red Bull now, going quite slowly here, and we're going side by side. This is a battle now for 14th place, and I do get 14th, but is he going to try and fight back? He does, but he decides to let me through, and I'm up into 14th. Struggling now to get the power out. I think I did a good job there not to spin out at all so far in this race, but anyway, let's have a look. Someone sets the fastest lap of the race, even though it's only been a lap, so that would obviously be the leader who set that. And ahead you can see I haven't lost too much time, so I'm quite optimistic that possibly, quite possibly, we could score at least a point today. I know it does seem like quite an unrealistic target, but if we could get P9 in qualifying in wet conditions, and we're 4 seconds off the pace, I think we can do an even better job in the race. If people make mistakes, if people crash out, who knows what could happen. So ahead of me is the McLaren Honda. Now, just saying, this is a league not like IF1C. All of this is on equal performance, so I think the only thing that is different is the handling model, or I think they might have tried and fixed that in this game, or I actually have no idea. But anyway, yeah, as you can see then, the McLaren then, I go to the inside line here and I take the position, and I look back actually to see where he is, and he was miles behind me. I really thought that he could possibly try and do the undercut into that corner and overtake me, but that didn't really happen. Anyway, here we go then, on to lap 3, and look at that, we're getting a purple first sector then, and somebody is off, which puts us up into 10th place. So we are in a point scoring position at this current moment, and I'm thinking, wow, this is actually turning out to be a good, oh no, maybe I spoke a little bit too soon there, but that was probably the only mistake I made in this race up until that point. Possibly I could have tried and avoided the spinning Ferrari, but I mean, I didn't really know that was going to happen anyway. So we're into P7 now, but a couple of people have pitted and fitted the super soft tyres. I was debating whether I should have pitted earlier or should I pit on lap 12, lap 13. I was trying to think what would have been a better strategy to pit. At the time, my engineer wanted me to pit right in the middle of his prediction, or a little bit earlier, or a little bit later. In the end, I decided to pit on this lap, so that at the end of lap 14, I'm up into P4. I can see a podium there, but I know that those guys have pitted, so I'm into the pits now. Braking, getting that all sorted. I'm really bad at the pit entry, and I really do need to improve that. I always have pit assists on when they are enabled to me because, well, I know it's unrealistic, and thanks for Codemasters for actually putting that in there. But if you want to gain a lot of time, just speed it in the pits, and you will gain a lot of time compared to those who decide, oh, I want to play this game properly. Which I actually do, except for that tiny setting error there. Now here, I wanted to make sure I wasn't going to try and do a David Coulthard, although he did it in the pit entry, but anyway. And anyway, we're exiting the pits here, and we rejoin in P10. And we've actually lost a little bit of time. Well, I say a little bit, but I think I lost about double the amount of time that the guy ahead of me was before the pit stops were made. And here we are, we've got a guy here in the Renault, and this is actually quite, 3 laps towards the end of this race. And we managed to outpace him, and we've overtaken him, and we are now up into P8. So this is absolutely fantastic. What a drive I am doing here to get this Williams car up into P8. Not only that really, but for this to be my first ever AOR race. Yes, I know it's Formula 7, but still, P8, that I'll definitely take that. And I can see a car ahead of me, and this is for position, I believe. And could I get him towards the final few corners? I don't think so, but you can see there that I could have had the pace to be at least P5 in this race. And well, just to say that I did not get any penalties during this race, not even a warning. So how I managed to escape that around a track which is known to catch people out with penalties, I have no idea, but I've been quite an expert in not picking up penalties. And as you can see, I'm up into P7 now. So what had happened is everybody else, except for one person I believe, had at least a penalty. So that promoted me up into P7. So my first ever AOR race, I know it's Formula 7, but still, AOR is AOR, is P7. I could not believe this when I crossed the line, or even, starting the final lap in P8. I was extremely happy with that. So 6 points, I cannot believe it. It's just incredible that I've managed to get P7. And look at that, everybody else getting penalties there. Wow, that is incredible. And if I didn't have that spin, if I didn't have that slight moment before a couple of laps before I made my pit stop, and also in the pit entry line, who knows, it could have been P5 for sure. Maybe even a bit higher, because most of those people ahead of me got penalties. So yeah, and as you can see, there's my lap times if you really want to see them. The next race will be the Spanish Grand Prix. I cannot wait for that race. I think Russia is not really one of my strongest tracks, and for me to be in P7 is just fantastic. So I'm very optimistic about Spain, but I know a lot of other people like that track too. So all I really want from Spain is to pick up another point, or points possibly, just get in the points basically. Anyway, that has been the end of this video. I am now officially an AOR driver. I'm very proud about that. Ever since, as you saw in the beginning of that video, that was me back in 2013. Yeah, you can see I was absolutely terrible at no assists. And wow, how times have changed. Thank you for watching, everybody. I've been thinking about joining AOR for a long time, and finally it's happened. Thanks to everybody also who managed to get me into this league when I signed up a little bit late to it. Well, I actually created my account quite a few months ago, and I've been thinking about doing AOR for a very long time, and I thought you had to be the very best of the best, but apparently you don't. So, as I've just proven to you here. So yeah, that has been the Russian Grand Prix. The next one, Spain, And if you want to know exactly when AOR takes place, they have their website. I might put that in the description. If I forget, please do leave a comment. Anyway, thank you for watching, everybody. Until the next race, which is in Spain, goodbye!